All right. So today, the topic for today is the art of reflection. So the topic today is the art of reflection. So what we're going to be doing is having a look at firstly what reflection means for you. So if I said to you, what is reflection? Just type in the comments below what you feel reflection is. If I said um, today we're going to be reflecting on a behavior or reflecting on a process, what would reflection look like or mean to you? Because it can vary from person to person. So it could mean you find all the negatives in the things that you've done. It could be trying to find all the positives that you've done. Have a write down or have a think about yourself. If you don't feel confident enough to share your thoughts of what reflection means for you. Is it a completely new concept that you've never even really processed? Okay, so we've got looking at it, whatever it may be. So I just lost you for a moment. Looking at what it could be. It could be anything. It could be how your dinner went. It could look at how you went and trained. Look at how you did a sale. How whatever that it is. Tanya believes it's looking at it in a constructive way. That's great. That's a great answer. So today, what the goal is for me to sit with you as a host for throughout this discussion, to have a look at our learning journey about understanding what the art of reflection is. So if you've got a journal or you've got a pen and paper, get it out, get it in front of you, because we'll be looking at some strategies and skills, and I think that's really important to get some strategies and skills on how you can incorporate reflection into your everyday. So it could be reflection in your personal life, can be reflection in your business, can be reflection in any aspect of your life. So grab a pen and paper if you haven't already got one, and come and join me. Okay. So reflection. Reflection in, we're going to be looking at it about becoming curious. Sorry, just my internet seems to be dropping out at moments. It's looking at it at a specific event with curiosity. So we're going to be looking at something, an event, whatever it is, with curiosity. So there's things that we don't do. When we're being reflective, there's things that we don't do, and there are things that we do need to do. So a lot of us can come into the reflective process without a kind mindset. So don't use harsh words when you are coming into a reflective process. So you're not here. This is not a process. This is not a skill of beating yourself up. You are not, reflection doesn't work if you are going to sit down and write down all the negative things about yourself or about the process in a harsh way. We're coming into it as a point of curiosity. So, and we don't have a closed mind. If you have a closed mind, it will be very, very hard to find solutions. So a closed mind, what it would mean is that, well, I've done this and it's the way that I've always done it, and it's the way that I will continue to do it. So having an open mind is, well, I've always done it this way. It doesn't seem to be working. So maybe I need to try and find a different way. So that's the don'ts. Negative mindset, harsh words, speaking to yourself, not welcome. Also having a closed mindset, not going to help you in a reflective process. The do's for reflection is accept your feelings. If you're reflecting on something that didn't go well, it may bring up a lot of feelings. The best thing that we can do is sit and accept them, feel them, and express them as best we can. So this might be a confronting experience if you are sitting there and you're feeling feelings that you've been trying to push down. A lot of us may come up with mum guilt. So if you've ever felt mum guilt, let me know, write in the comments, mum guilt. Yep, had it. Okay, that's fine. Don't try and push it down, except, all right, I'm feeling a bit of mum guilt. Okay, that's okay. It's okay to have any type of feeling that comes up. Anger, sadness. So accept those feelings that come forward. The next thing is you do need to be curious. So curious, I worked for over 10 years with young children, and I think that's one of the best blessings that I've had, is because it allowed me to continue being around 20 to 30 people who are just innocently curious. So it allowed me to continue to harness that curiosity mindset. Think about, okay, I'm going to be that kid. Oh, why? Why this? Why that? Think of how you were when you were 2 or 3, or you know that kid who's always asking questions. Why? So that's the curious mindset that I want you to try and draw up and bring up. The other thing is to be open-minded and solution-focused. So that's important. Open-minded and solution-focused. So, all right, something isn't working. I'm going to be open, and I'm also going to try and find solutions. This may mean I have to reach out to different areas that I'm not used to, and that's bringing out a little bit of vulnerability. And that's not something that everyone feels comfortable with, is feeling emotionally vulnerable or intellectually vulnerable. For me, myself, that was a big challenge for me, is opening up to change and being vulnerable about it. Okay, so we are going to have a look at reflection, and I call it like the 4 stages of reflection. So the 4 stages of reflection. So the first stage of the reflection is being specific. We're going to gather information. It's going to gather information. We're going to choose a specific event, stage, routine, a system, something very specific, just that one aspect, and we're going to have a look at that one thing, and we're going to gather all the information, both negative and positive, about that event. So I find that doing this in a brainstorm is the best way, and I'll touch on that in a moment, what a brainstorm is for those people who are unsure. Okay, so the first stage is gather information. When we reflect, we need to put down as much of the information as we can. We look at whatever we're analyzing, whether it could be a routine, a morning routine possibly, a school drop-off. It could be having a look at how you are doing a task within your business. Choose something specific, have a beginning stage, end stage, and try and gather as much information as you can for that particular event, routine, or system. Next stage is be curious. Get that little child that is always asking why. And once you have your brainstorm, why? Why did that work? Well, I was prepared beforehand. What about being prepared allowed that to work well? Then we could also continue that. Will this particular behavior, will this particular system work in the future? So be curious. What worked negatively? Why? And then what we're going to be having a look at is what worked well and why. And we want to draw out as much information about all the small aspects that led up to that positive about the event and what led to that negative event. Okay. However, okay, thank you, Lucas. So what we're going to be talking about, we've got stage 1, which is the stages of reflection, gathering information. Choose an event, choose a routine that you want to analyze. Choose the beginning and the end. Stage 2, be curious. So be curious, keep an open mind, have a look at what worked well and what didn't work well. However, one thing that we don't want to bring into this reflective process is having a look at too many of the what ifs. So that's things that are out of our control. So there are so many things, especially if you are an entrepreneurial mum, having a look at kids possibly could get sick. There's this that could go wrong, that could go wrong. Well, if I looked at my past week, there's a lot of things that were out of my control. Children getting sick, me getting sick. Okay, all right. So I can't prevent that too much from happening. However, I can have a look at the processes that helped with this, I call them snowball events. So where everything sort of snowballs from one to the next. So don't get too hung up on the things that were out of your control. Try and be more reflective on the things that were within your control as you're in stage 2, being curious. Stage 3, be solution focused. This is my favorite thing. This is something that I'm really passionate about and probably is my special gift, is finding solutions to a problem. It's something I'm passionate about. Thinking outside of the box. Sometimes you need to reach out. Sometimes I found, and this is why having coaches and having experts come into your world can help, because they help you think outside of the box. So what I want you to do, instead of blaming and getting that negative talk coming into that conversation, I want you to take a solution focus, having a look at what worked well. So especially if this is a new sort of process for yourself, start with the positives. There's always something that worked well. It could be the simple fact that you laughed about it afterwards, there's always something positive that you can find in most events. So start with the positives of what worked well, and that gives you a comfort. You've got a more positive mindset. You've got a bit of kindness that's built up into yourself, and then move into, well, these are the negative things. I apologize. So, and therefore, then you can have a look, well, this worked, this didn't work. I've had a look at, these are the possible reasons why. Now, what can I do about those whys in the future to prevent that negative event happening again? Give me a thumbs up if you're feeling that you can be a solution-focused mindset. It's tricky, but it is something that if you practice, and that this is why I am doing these masterclasses, so that we can practice going through these new processes together, because it does help. Thanks, Tanya. It does help when we practice these together, because sometimes that mindset can be challenging, but it's something that I'm super, super passionate about, and I love coming up with creative solutions, and I love reaching out to different people to help find solutions for me, because sometimes I get blocked. I can't see outside of my box. So we've got stage 1, gathering information. Stage 2, be curious. Stage 3, be solution focused. Stage 4, all of this is a waste of time unless you implement those changes. And I'll say that again. It's all a waste of time doing all of this beautiful reflection unless you implement those changes. So you must implement change. There's no point reflecting if you don't implement change. And this is the hard part. This is where it's great to have someone that you can be accountable to and someone that can help you take that leap. Sometimes it's a big change that you need to do or an uncomfortable change. So that's something that we can work together. Some tips on implementing change. For those mums who are entrepreneurial, time can be a challenge. Mental energy can be a challenge. Logistics can be a challenge. So my tip for you is choose one thing and make the change simple. Make the change simple. What we're trying to do is give you less to do in your everyday, not more. And this is where I feel my approach to looking at how to improve productivity is how can we make you do less, not more. You've got enough to do. You've got enough worries. You've got enough guilt. You've got enough pull between all the different aspects in your life. You don't need more. You need less. So we need to figure out how we can make you still be super productive whilst doing less. How you can be super productive whilst doing less. So what we can do when we're implementing a change, do one small change. That will give you two outcomes. One, it will allow you to see if that change worked. And two, it will also give you enough space, enough enough energy to focus on that change. Because if you try and implement 4 different changes, when we talked about multitasking, that cognitive load, it can sometimes be too much. So choose one thing and give yourself about 4 weeks doing that new change to see if it works. So it depends on how often you're going to be doing it. So if it's something that happens once every couple of days or once a week, give yourself a couple of weeks to see if that change and that will work. Okay, so is there a particular routine, an event that you have in mind that you want to do some reflection on? Is it your morning routine? Is it bedtime? Is it how you set up for business? Is it a system that you have within your business that doesn't seem to be working? Is it managing lunches? Is it managing, it could be anything. This process of reflection can work on various aspects in your everyday. So remember, stage 1, gather the information. Stage 2, be curious. Stage 3, be solution focused. And 4, implement change. And finally, once you've implemented that change, repeat the process. Reflection is a continuous process that can be done. And I usually have in my my calendar, I have a space and I constantly reflect on things as the day goes. And this was really, really efficient and allowed me, especially when I was teaching, to have a very autonomous classroom. So the kids, even though there was 6 or 7, it was their classroom. They knew how it worked. The system worked for them as much as it worked for me because I reflected every day on every element, on how to become more efficient. So how do I do less? How do I get them to own their task? And it was amazing. So just before I go, a little reminder of brainstorming. So brainstorming, when I said when you are at gathering information stage, is finding the central idea and then spreading out all the different topics, both positive and negative, like a little flower around. So if you need some more help with brainstorming, just hit me back. So thank you very much to those people who have stayed with me from beginning to end, and I hope that you enjoy the reflective process that might be coming your way. It's just the tip of the iceberg of what can happen when you want to lift your plans off the page. There is so much that that could be challenging you in terms of your relationships, your business, and I'd love to know more. So thank you to those people who stayed with me right through to the end. And I do honestly want to know how you are going. What are your challenges? What's your vision? What's your dream? What's the blocks that you are having? What's the issues with the systems and the processes that you have? Do you feel alone? Do you have that mum guilt that you're struggling with? I'd love to know. So for those people, thank you very much for joining me and staying to the end. And I'd like to offer you a 30-minute consultation where we can get to know each other and what your visions are and what your goals are. And I'd like to know how I am able to help you along the way. So I'm going to, if you are interested in a 30-minute consultation, just write dreams in the comments below and I will be contacting you to see how we can work together to lift your dreams off the page. Also, for those people, if you are struggling with something in particular in your business, relationships, or your personal, your mum life, whatever it may be, and you want a bit of help, I'd love to be able to do a masterclass on a topic that is important for you. So what I want you to do is hit me up and let me know what your struggles are so that I can work with you and give the masterclass that you need that will help you along your journey to lift your dreams off the page. Now, I know mum life is time consuming, so I want to say thank you very much for joining me for this 30 minutes. It's been a pleasure. And join me next Wednesday for our next masterclass. So be kind to each other and take care.